Good afternoon from Yummy BTV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you as usual. In the house with me today, as promised quite a while back, we'd done a version before, but I deemed it not really suitable to put up on my channel. But here we go again, part one with the legendary, great Sarah Jane Baker.
I'm a bit scared. I'm a bit scared and I'm a bit nervous.
You're a bit nervous. You look a bit wide-eyed.
But I mean, look, we look amazing.
Right, Sarah, let's go straight in.
And we're not in prison.
And we're not in prison, much to celebrate after that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
torturous time in there. Yeah, Let's never forget, it wasn't all a bag of roses, was it? It was funny. No. Sarah, tell us about a bit back. We'll start from the beginning, all right? Yeah. Sarah, where was you? You was brought up in...
I was born in Dulwich Hospital, South London.
Dulwich Hospital.
Yeah, I'm South Londoner. Born and bred all the way through me. You chop me in half with a chainsaw, it's going to say, made in London.
Yeah.
Like a stick of rock.
So where did the Brixton thing come from?
We would
Dulwich,
our home, we lived in Shakespeare Road. In Brixton, with my dad, my mum, and two of my brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the ghetto. It's Frontline, isn't it? Shakespeare Road. I love going back there. I love London with all my heart. I love it.
How was that with growing up with a family, dad, mum?
I tell you, it was.
Go on, you've got all the time in the world, darling.
My dad was a bad man.
Right.
Yeah, mate. But you know, my dad's dead now. My dad died since I got out of prison.
Yeah.
My mum died while I was in jail. But
Yeah.
I was raised by my dad and the children's home system. But my dad was a bad man. But with hindsight, I could see my dad had a borderline personality disorder. I'm convinced. Just like I have the same disorder in my family. Loads of us have the same condition. And he was just so violent, as was I. To me, violence.
Yeah, but you wasn't violent as a kid, was you? Like up until 10.
No, I was violent to myself.
What was home life like? Generally sad.
Just beating. Yeah, my dad used to beat us up all the time.
And mum?
My dad beat up every partner my dad's ever had.
Yeah.
Every partner my dad's ever had, he beat up and treated really badly.
So your mum wasn't.
My mum didn't. My mum raised me till she was about 4.
Right.
And I mean, she left the home because people told me that my dad had tortured her. So she went on, but she left. She left me.
Yeah.
Me and 2 brothers with a wronging.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is like 1974.
Older brothers,
no,
yeah.
one a year younger, one a year older.
Right. So really not.
And we're all damaged from it. I've got lots of sisters. Almost everyone in my family has mental health issues brought about by our childhood. I mean, you could have written the script.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's predictable.
But But my dad was as much as my dad was a really bad man, he was quite charismatic.
Smoke scream.
Yeah, my dad was charismatic. My dad always had a nice car.
Yeah.
My dad always had women chasing after him all the time. The more of a bastard my dad was, the more women my dad had flocking to him. Women loved my dad. Then he treated them like shit, and they'd love him even more. And I'd say, "What are you doing, hanging about with this?" I mean, my dad's a bad person.
Yeah.
But it's his way of showing me love. If he hits me, I'm like, "Are you insane?" But that was the kind of mindset. But I can see my dad tried. My dad was a trier, like me. I try.
Criminal as well.
Well, semi. My
Didn't
dad
go to prison.
Yeah, my dad went to prison for beating somebody up with a boat whore.
Yeah.
Boat whore. Yeah. I don't know a lot about my dad's. I don't know a lot about his history. My dad was quite private about his own past. My dad's. I don't know if my dad's mum treated him badly.
Did you know her?
Yeah, I knew my gran. My granny was she was a cook. She was a cook in King's College Hospital in South London. Yeah, she was a cook. My gran was alright. She was always nice to me.
Yeah.
But you know, I think my dad's my dad's father left the home when he was a child, and I think my dad felt abandoned.
Yeah.
And maybe passed them feelings of abandonment onto me. I always feel like someone's going to leave me, or I mean, even now, I don't have many friends. I don't have enough friends to count on 2 fingers of my hand, because I've got this mental health condition that I'm getting lots of help to manage it.
Yeah.
I mean, probation have been amazing to me. I mean, it's
a change.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm less cynical than I was. But every time I had any engagement with probation, I always lied to them. I never told them the truth because I didn't trust anybody. And my time in care didn't make me. I had no respect for authority, or for the police, because every time I saw the police, it was always the police going over the top. So, for argument's sake, you might have like a couple of kids making a bit of noise on the estate where my grandma's living, but you'd get like 40 police officers and SPG vans coming round trying to just like. The police were just intimidating then.
What was it, South London?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? The police would just come in big, massive numbers, pick you up, throw you in the back of the SPG van. They'll drive you around the corner for 10 minutes and then chuck you back out on the street. You'd be black and blue, just as a deterrent.
So what about the schooling, Sarah?
I didn't get much schooling. The reason I didn't get much schooling is because my dad was always beating up on me. So I was always, my face, my eyes were always black.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, me.
So you had to hide the bruises, kind of thing.
Well,
you got taken
as bad as I had it. One of my brother is a year older than me.
Yeah.
He had it a million times worse than me. He was, like I say, a year younger than me. And my dad really used to go to town on him, broke his jaw. Even as a little child, he had his jaw broken, and my dad taped his face up with tape. And
Gordon Bennett.
Yeah, so my dad had to have operations because of childhood abuse. You know what I mean? And I'm 53, so my brother's 54, and he's still got physical issues with
So
the
you got
abuse.
you got taken into care because of that.
No, well, what I did is I kept running away from home because, like me, it's fight or flight, and I don't really have no trouble with fighting. I liked fighting. I really liked it. But I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that stuff now. But when I was younger, it's fight or flight. If I'm outnumbered, I'll run. He who runs away lives to fight another day, or he, she, or whatever their pronouns are. But the fact is, it was grim. There was never enough food. There wasn't enough food in the house. I don't think I had a toothbrush till I was in care.
Gordon Bennett.
I never brushed my teeth till I went into care because I didn't know anyone who brushed their teeth. Nobody in my family did because my dad didn't.
For the viewers that have never heard of Sarah Jane Baker, when I met Sarah in the Cat A's, she was a geezer. But now Sarah, just so that they're familiar with a little bit from the start.
Be trans, but don't do crimes.
So Sarah, what are you trans? What is?
You're
a woman.
Technically, no. I'm not a woman, because everyone's going to... I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of haters out there, right?
Oh, don't worry, Yummy BTV, my lot are good.
Yeah.
Like
no, I know your lot are, but the thing is...
My lot, they read between the lines, they know what life's on. There's a lot of mature lot of mine, Sarah. Don't think about that. So you're not a woman then?
No, I'm a transgender woman. I did my own castration because I couldn't get treatment in prison, so...
I heard this.
But like...
God, that must have been awful.
No, it wasn't Yummy B, because...
No. The pain of just doing it, imagining it. So, where was you when you did that?
I was in Lewis Prison.
What, down the block?
Yeah, if I forgot, I would have brought... I've still got the razor blade that I used.
Please, God.
Yeah, it's gone into a museum in Brighton. The Museum of Transology in Brighton. Yeah, the razor blade I did my castration with.
In Lewis Prison?
I did my castration about 2017. No, I was in my cell.
That's recent times then?
Yeah.
God, that's after the Cat A's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. 2017. Because...
all right.
My skinny jeans fit nice.
Yeah,
And I can run faster. And if you kick me between the legs, man, no one's going to take me down.
Well, what was your feeling during that time? It's because it's very, very disturbing.
What, during the time of the castration?
No, not the time of the castration, but what was you feeling for you to have taken that on, such an act of castration and painfulness, and think, like, without, you never obviously got no advice or no medical care, or you didn't get, you weren't allowed to do it, was you? It's a form of self-harm, really, in the authorities' eyes.
Maybe in the authorities' eyes, but politics is my thing.
What was going through your mind when you did that? Was you thinking, there's got to be a reason why? Is this the reason why you went trans, or you didn't like what you felt like inside of you? What didn't you like being a man? Why we go into that extent? It was very dangerous.
I was disappointed and I was upset. And I was upset about government policies.
Yeah.
And where prison policy, where prison policy starts to forget that they have obligations, meaning so much like the healthcare centres. Yeah. You're supposed to get the same treatment, the equal treatment that you get if you was in the community.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying something that nobody knows. I mean, if you go to prison, if you're in jail doing life, and you've got a tariff date of perhaps 30, 35 years, or even 10 years, and you've got a toothache, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? You're in trouble because you could be on a waiting list for 3 or 4 years, and the best thing for you to do is take a load of heroin, get a bit of string round and pull your own tooth out, or get someone to smash you in the face.
Yeah.
Because you know how desperate you get.
Yeah.
Now, there was a guy in Wandsworth. He broke his leg. Do you remember then they used to give you liquid paracetamol?
Yeah.
They give a little tot of liquid paracetamol for a broken foot. Bad. Prison. But I think everyone who works in prison, staff in prisons, I think all of us become desensitised to the pain that everyone else is having. Come on, you've seen the people that I've seen who are gouging their arms out.
What was that geezer's name? What was that geezer's name? Glenn or something. He used to cut into and hide the parcels in there instead of taking. He used to cut through his whole body. He used to be down the black.
Okay, to his body.
What was his name? He had the injuries in it. He could go and put his hand into his thing and hide blades down there and all that.
Yeah, me.
And then he used to Glenn something.
I swear down, right? Every prison you go to, every jail you go to, they'll have a hospital wing and it'll be full of self-harmers. It'll be the problem is most of the prison system seems to be full up of an overflow from the mental health system.
Never used to be.
There's no spaces to go.
Now it's there's loads.
If you're hearing voices, if you're chopping yourself up, if you're anorexic or bulimic to such an extent that you're struggling to even crawl across the ground, there's nowhere for you to go if you have no money. And likewise, when I was in prison, if I had enough money, I could have bought myself. I could have employed specialists to work with me, but I didn't. All I wanted was the same level of treatment as somebody outside of the prison system would receive.
Right.
I mean, this is supposed to be Great Britain. Now, the only reason it's called Great Britain is to differentiate it from Brittany. You know that, yeah? Brittany in northern France. Like that used to be part of the UK or part of London or part of England or something, right? But like, there's nothing great about Britain today. There's nothing great about it. There are people who are really struggling. I thought I was struggling in prison. My life outside of prison is perhaps 100% harder. It's 100% harder because in prison, I know that if I buy this, chop this up, I can sell that to that to them to them, right? I could get myself a few smokers patches, I could shot a few of them around. In prison, I could make money. Out here, when you're trying to play, when you're just trying to keep on a straight road, it's a struggle, especially for accommodation. I just got an eviction notice, a 2-month eviction notice. My rent has gone up by an extra £600 to £1,650 a month for a 1-bedroom flat.
Not where you live with your missus.
Yeah, no, my missus lives with her parents.
Oh, is that where you
Yeah,
no,
my missus lives with her parents. I live in Kew Gardens.
Oh, I thought that was her flat.
No.
So you don't actually live together then, Sarah?
No.
I thought you did. That was a full-time partner. What's her name?
Oh, Anita.
Anita.
Yeah, but the thing is, Anita can't. Anita's amazing. She's an amazing artist. She's a great nurse. But Anita's kind of like, she's the only person on the planet that I trust.
Yeah.
With no disrespect to you or anybody else.
I saw that when I met her.
Anita is the person.
She's the.
Like,
she's the angel.
Anita's currently exhibiting at the Royal Academy of Art in London.
Yeah,
she just won an award from the president.
Yeah. I met her. Remember?
And she sold her work. But Anita hadn't done any kind of art until she met me. But the thing is, I didn't do any kind of art. I wasn't interested in learning to read and write. I didn't care about anyone else's issues. I didn't. In prison, I was encouraged to not care.
Yeah.
You know that. In prison, they say, look, don't give a shit about nobody else. You worry about your stuff and don't worry about them. You say, yeah, but that guy over there is having it 1,000 times harder than me, and I feel obligated as a human being to go over there and stick up for him because you're all going to steamroller over every right that he has. But the fact is, I'm not in prison now.
All right,
so I mean, and the castration, it has caused me issues, but I did as much research as I could. I pretty much knew what I was doing. I managed the pain with pregabalins. I was just taking pregabalin every hour, just shoving pregabalins up my arse and swallowing them. So by the time I did it, I didn't feel...
Did they call emergencies or anything? Didn't they?
No, shall I tell you how I did it? You want to know? You don't know? Okay then, right? So I did... Okay, so I did the first testicle.
Oh, God.
And then... But two other transgender prisoners had tried castrating themselves in prison before me, but they got to one testicle and they couldn't do the other. They did it once and they couldn't do it the other. But, yeah... So
what was it?
So when you're sitting in your cell with your testicles, and I knock on the door, and I say to him like, I've got a white towel, and the white towel's just covered in blood. I knew that I've got to be from. So I removed one testicle, then I pressed the bell. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew by the time I cut the other one, the amount of blood loss I was going through, it was going to double. So I had to make it quick, but. I've got to make sure that my testicles disappear because otherwise they would have reattached them to me.
Cool.
But Yummy, I didn't want to remove any bits and pieces of my genitalia or cut bits of my body off. I would have been happy with the estrogen, just the tablets. I would have been happy with that. But the thing is, for me to get the estrogen, Yummy, I'm not kidding you, mate. I had to spend like $2,000 a month on getting prison officers to bring in my estrogen. $2,000 a fucking month. Yeah, me. I could name you 10 prison officers who are currently driving cars that I paid for to get them to get me my estrogen. The staff know this. Is no secret. It's no secret that the prison system is corrupt. No, but that's no secret to nobody. You could look. I mean, if you the TV program last night, where you had psychiatrists and everything else coming on. The TV program you and I was on about full and maximum security prison.
Last night,
last night, the last night program, right? So, and they're saying like this place is just like inhumane. Even the people who, even the haters know that prison is a really bad place to go to. So I'm saying, well, if you know it's bad, what do you think people are going to come out like on the other end? I says, because the minute I went into the system, everyone just said to me, shut your mouth, do your bang up. If you've got a pillar, get your fucking head on it. Don't be shouting out the window. And if you're going to take drugs, don't get caught. And that was it. I said, well, how long am I here for? They said, well, I had a tariff of 9 years, 9-year tariff.
Yeah.
And then then I ended up doing 30 basically because one, I couldn't keep my hands to myself, and I couldn't keep my fucking mouth shut.
No, it's all right. So when you first, let's go back a bit, Sarah. So
Sorry.
those crimes, you went to prison. When you got, I saw you in the 90s millennium cat A's. When you left the outside world and you got that case that you ended up in the cat A's for, what was that about the case? The court, the sentence?
No, the reason I was given, the reason they put me on cat A is because I was already in prison 7 years for kidnapping, aggravated burglary, unlawful imprisonment, and GBH of intent.
And that was when, the 90s?
That would be like 1988.
Yeah, I thought so.
So they give me 7 years, and then, my God, as soon as I've been to youth custody before. Every time I've gone to youth custody, I've just, from the minute I'm in to the minute I leave, just fighting. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't until I got in my 30s I actually started getting taller. Do you know what I mean? I was short, fat, national wealth glasses, and people thought they could beat up on me. So they did for a while. But as soon as I got in dispersals, you remember Brendan Dowd, the IRA guy, Brendan.
Vaguely.
Remember, like Brendan, Harry Duggan, Stephen O'Donnell, yeah, them guys, right? So like,
who were they again? Yeah,
IRA.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, so I was lucky because as soon as I got into Full Sutton, Brendan Dowd comes up to me. Why are you in prison? I said, yeah, that's my paperwork. Do you know what I mean? And then we just hit it off. Do you know what I mean? I fucking despise.
What was that? Who's his Cody again? Brendan's. Not Declan, no.
No, I don't know.
You're talking. I know you're talking about before the early 90s.
Yeah.
So
remember, like Billy Adams? Is it Billy Armstrong and that? So remember, when the Guildford Four, the Maguire Seven, and them guys, when people were stuck, when people were framed for being IRA people, IRA prisoners would come up to me going, yeah, he's guilty, but he's innocent, and the police know, special branch know, MI5 and MI6, they knew. They just framed people up. I got framed for stealing a car and nothing charged, but the police still went through this big rigmarole to frame me for something that I did, for attempting to steal from a parked motor vehicle. And that changed me. It happened in Beckenham when I was a fucking teenager. I was taking a shortcut through a car park. Two men grabbed hold of me. He said, you were trying to steal that car. I said, steal that car? I said, my dad's going to pick me up around the corner. I said, I'm just walking through it. But the amount of energy they put into framing me, until that moment, I had a kind of belief in the police system, in the criminal justice system. I was brought up to say that we have the master of parliaments, and that we gave the law and human rights to the world. Did we? Fuck. We gave human rights to people who had money. We gave human rights to people who are wealthy, to people who've already got stuff. Those who are always getting. They're always going to get more. But the people on the bottom saying, look, from the minute I first ever went to youth custody when I was perhaps 14, into like Letchmere House and Ashford and Chelmsford and Rochester, Lewis. I was in Lewis. I first went there when I was a YP.
It was good in the old days, as far as prison goes.
Was you there when they had the flipping gay twins?
Reggie.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't.
Did you get on with Reggie?
I got nothing to say about the Cray twins. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add to any story about them or any of their...
They wasn't Lewis though. Oh yeah, but he was in... No, Reggie, before Lewis. Oh no, was that after Maidstone?
No,
No, that was before... He was in Lewis before Maidstone, Reggie, I think.
No, I went to Lewis. Yeah. I went to Lewis first when I was a teenager, when I was 15.
That's right.
They put me on like a YP landing in Lewis.
Because local remand as well, big gym there as well.
Yeah, I don't I don't think Ronnie or Reggie was down there, but I think Sid Draper was down there.
Sid Draper.
Sid, he had a parrot. Sometime he had a parrot down there.
Yeah.
On the jail within a jail.
What, Lewis or in the
in Lewis?
Oh, in Lewis.
Yeah.
No, Reggie was definitely there. Yeah. He was definitely there. That would have been.
Before, I know they were there. But the thing is, anyone could question me, like outside of this thing. The thing is, I know a lot more about the Cray twins than most of the people, unless they read stuff up, unless they read about the hangers-on around them, the people who wanted to be associated with the Cray name. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Bronson. And I'm not saying Dave Courtney. And let me finish, yeah? I'm not saying these people who wanted to be associated with the Cray twins were as bad as what the Cray twins were. But it is a matter for public record that both of them used to have sex with young boys. No, they weren't any better than Dominic Noonan, because Dominic Noonan did the same thing. He had his little gang of hangers-on and everything else, and all the young boys he was having sex with. That's what he was doing. Everyone knew. Dominic was openly gay in prison.
Why did you have him?
I gave him a blowjob for a quarter. I needed the drugs, man. So what? And I got on with him because there was no history. There was no one was. Everyone was saying
but that's the stories about. They've been flying about for years about. But Charlie Bronson was more his own man though around him. I don't know about that. What did you meet Dave Courtney? Oh no, you used to.
No. The only time I never met Dave Courtney. But what I didn't even read his book, and I'll tell you the reason why I didn't read his book is because the biggest villains that this system has ever had. I said the biggest villains the prison system have ever had, the most powerful crime family in fucking Britain at the moment, which is them, with more money than any of them other fucking gangsters out there, right? They was the ones who said to me, they said, don't ever have nothing to do with him. Nothing. Not for the fact that they were hanging around with the Cray twins and their history of having fucking sex with underage fucking boys and going to these parties. These are matters of public record. So I'm saying, this is not like something that no one knows about. But the thing is, Bronson knew, Dave Courtney knew, and anyone else around that Cray twin circle who wanted to be associated with them knew. They knew the history of the Cray twins. They knew they were just a couple of little miniature bullies. They were so small, I don't think they were 5'3". But you know, amongst the Cray twins, flipping Frankie Fraser looked like a freaking giant. And look, they was all short-statured, angry little men. I mean, and anyway, the Cray twins, I'm not a military person. I'm not. But I will always honour the people who gave up their lives in the fucking First and Second World War. But not the Cray twins, Dad. That coward. While everybody else was putting up their sons and their husbands to go and fight for this country, the Cray twins, Dad, he went on the run.
All right, so the one thing that I think became apparent the last time, that's enough of that.
Sorry.
Now, the last that became apparent last time is you were ranting, raving that. How come you got vilified for being kind of the other way?
For being queer in the prison system. Everyone would slag me off.
But you were saying that how come they had a go at you, but they never had a go at other people that were moving a bit funny behind the scenes anyway, if it's that.
Well, the thing is, you know the people I know, you know the stories that I know, like the stories with like the many kind of Joey Allardyces, where the Crays were giving them fake Rolex watches. I mean, even if you see the Cray twin stuff, it's a matter for public record. When they died, all their possessions went up for sale at auction. Their watches were fake. They weren't even real Rolexes. They were fake. Mm. The deal that their brother done for the Cray film, which was done, that three brothers, they got 60 grand. They got 20 grand each for a film. So I mean, I would have said, look, I want at least 5%. 5% of the take, now 100 grand up front. They weren't sophisticated. The Krays weren't sophisticated criminals.
No.
The Krays never worked for nothing. They bullied stuff off of people. They took stuff off of people. They could only hurt people in big numbers. Right? If they had a big gang with them on their own, they couldn't do nothing. The people that they killed, the people they went to prison for, these weren't people who had stolen from them. These were people, the Krays were that insecure, right? Then when people go to, Reggie the fat perf or Ronnie the fat perf, then that gets them, do you know what I mean? They weren't sophisticated criminals. They went to prison for nothing. They went to prison for killing people who were mean to them. They couldn't handle it when people went up to them and said, "Yeah, we're not scared of you, little punk." But you know, a little 5'3", with a handgun is it might be dangerous because it's got that. But I'll say, yeah, take them off. Let me see your fist, Reggie.
Yeah,
come on, Reggie. Come in
the
the gym with this. No, they fucking couldn't.
Wait,
People held back because people were afraid of them. They were afraid of their reputation. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a Londoner. I'm a South Londoner. And I know how to stab people, and I know how to get a fucking gun. That doesn't make them any more dangerous than me.
All right.
Just like I choose to do good stuff. They chose to steal, they chose to bully, and they chose to rob. They choose to rob from people who had nothing. The Kray twins weren't robbing rich people. I'm not saying I'm any more noble than anybody else, but what I'm saying is...
You had a good relationship with Bronson, you know.
But listen, Charlie is not well.
Yeah, but you want him out, though. You thought that was a liberty the other day, what that journalist did to him.
What did he do?
Stopped him getting out, really, basically. Someone I followed.
No, I can't do that, mate. I can't go that part. And I'll tell you why. It's because I went to see, that fake son.
That's the one I'm on about.
Yeah, me and Anita, we went all the way to Torquay. We went to see the museum, the crime museum.
And what happened?
Listen, right, so...
You went to see that that was on the TV.
So this guy comes out of the blue, right? So you got to remember, right? Because I know Charlie, I'm thinking of Charlie.
Exactly.
Right. I wanted one to protect him from this scumbag.
Yeah.
Right. But what I didn't know is that they were both in on it. So let me show you this, right? So I hear Charlie Bronson's getting out of jail.
Right.
I know Charlie Bronson can't get out of jail on his own strength. Because 1, he can't keep his mouth shut. 2, he's got a BPD. And 3, Charlie Bronson thinks he's more funny than he actually is. Now, when he tries them jokes on the parole board, they don't fly for that. Because they're thinking about Bronson's victims. That's what they're thinking about. Bronson, on his parole board, Bronson and I, we've got the same solicitor, Dean Kingham. He's an amazing brief. And if Dean Kingham can't get you out of jail, then you need to do some work. And the work that he needs to do is 1, he needs to get off category A or get out of the cell when he's in. And 2, he needs to learn how to take it. He needs to learn how to take shit and suck it up and just keep marching forward on his own thing.
Who's that fake son? Who is he to play a part in being the deciding factor? I just went in there to get this out of him and that out for him and really mess him up on purpose. That's what
I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of demonising people, right? All I can go is the evidence that I have. So,
yeah, but
I go to Torquay. Let me finish, right? No, I think he maybe needs to be there, or he needs to be somewhere for a bit longer, because he's not ready for the street. You know that. If you put him on the street, the first thing he's going to do when someone offers him out, you got to remember, Bronson has made a reputation as being the hardest man in the prison system, which is a nonsense. You know that as much as I do. If someone said to me, who's the most dangerous person I know? Victor Castigador. He's not a man I want to be. He was not a man I wanted to be messing with. Except I'll play chess with him.
He was all right. Yeah, he used to play chess.
Let's play chess. He used to be in the cell underneath me. Right?
He treated you all right.
Yeah, Victor Castigador. He was all right, and I offered him out. Do you know what I mean? I offered him out, man, and he just fucking put me on my back on the floor so quick, and had his foot on my neck. He's gonna take me out. The thing is,
Victor was good stuff. Man.
Yeah, he was always kind to me. So, but this is the thing, right?
So when you...
Bronson's artwork, right? So can I tell you about the museum we went to? This Torquay Museum. So sorry, I'm rambling a bit. I've got so many tangents, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking, Charlie Bronson, Mickey Peterson, you fucker, man. How the fuck are you going to get out of jail, right? Then I hear that there's somebody who's got this, this is the fake son, who came forward, was on Breakfast TV. He said, I'm Charlie Bronson's long lost son.
Madness.
Here's my DNA to prove it.
Mad that. That's a crime in itself.
But they even fooled Bronson's mum. Right? Now remember, borderline personality disorder. Remember, he's got a BPD.
He can appeal that.
Yeah. So what happens is, Charlie Bronson colludes with this guy who runs the crime museum in Torquay.
Yeah.
I went to visit with Anita, right? So we went down, it was really rainy, and I thought, I wonder what it's going to be like. Well, it was covered in Charlie Bronson, like headpaper headlines, all the worst things you could ever say about Charlie. This guy was making a fortune from inviting people into his museum, and they're just seeing all this stuff, right? But the thing is, one, it was for money, to make money for Charlie as well, because if you're in jail doing life, you need a few quid too, right? So one, it was money. Two, I'm guessing that Charlie, if his condition's anything similar to mine, there's going to be a bit of narcissism in there. The fact is, you don't want people to forget you. You always want to be relevant, because the minute someone mentions your name and they go, "No, I never heard of him," you're going to die in jail. If you've got a life sentence up your ass and you've got a BPD. So I went down to the museum to say, look, could you please shut this shit down and at least give Charlie and I at least give him a chance of getting out. But Charlie went in there and he thought it'd dazzle him with being funny and witty, and that's all right out the seg unit window, but not when you're in front. Not when you're fighting for your life in front of a parole board. I don't think Charlie took it seriously, especially when he said, well, sometimes some people need a bit of a dig. I'm like, Charlie, fucking hell, you're in your 70s, mate. You're talking like an immature 13-year-old in a fucking school playground. Yeah, some people need a slap. You don't say it to the parole board.
But how was he meant to behave for a man who's done 40-odd years in prison now?
He's got to fucking grow up.
Yeah, but it's not going to grow up in there. It hasn't worked, has it?
Yeah, he's got to grow up.
You've got to let him up sometime. He hasn't killed him. There's worse people. What about that geezer, what's his name? The one he's got the beef with at Fakra. Remember, he was saying that he was racialist and all that, Charlie. Charlie ain't racialist. What's that geezer?
Charlie's got Kevin Fakra.
That one, the one he's got the beef about the window.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the thing is, Kevin Fakra's more powerful than Charlie Bronson.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Fakra's managed to get this left-wing group in London, the Prisoner Solidarity Network, that I used to support. So, I mean, they did a lot of help for me, but you see, the group's being manipulated by Kevin Fakra. Kevin Fakra is he's a nasty, evil man, and I find it hard because I hate prison. He needs to stay in prison for the rest of his natural life.
He contested,
and I said it.
Didn't he? He says he was his brother or somebody.
Him and his brother went into a house in Luton.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about cases.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is,
even Charlie's got beef, though, innit? They had beef. They got a little bit of a beef.
Well, Kevin's trying to stitch Charlie up.
Yeah, and there was another. I know I can't.
They're trying to stitch Charlie up, so he
So
gets
getting on to them. Obviously,
he's definitely not the worst.
No,
Charlie's definitely not the worst in there.
No, I think it's a terrible liberty. Sarah, so when the Cat A's then, like, you went through a lot of hardship of being. Having the Mickey taken out of you for your sexuality.
But I did deserve to be there, Yami. I was really out of control. I deserved to be there.
That's your part of the story, but still you was vulnerable.
Yeah.
Your sexuality was different, but you used to get treated unfairly, but you used to get the ones that used to treat you bad and the ones that used to treat you good, like certain inmates, you know what I mean? Because I see some of them around you that used to look after you. They wouldn't let you get bullied all the time and all that.
People's full of hypocrites. I mean, 1 minute they come around and offering you money to have sex with you, and when you say no, they want to beat you up because they worry you might tell somebody, or all right. So I was walking down the landing in Full Sutton, right? I'm trying to think of this game. This guy's name, because I think I said it, but I think I said it on Channel 5.
Yeah, but be careful.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. So like,
you was walking down the landing in Full Sutton.
Yeah, and then like I was gonna bang on someone's door, right? Someone let you know, right? So I've opened the flap up. I've opened the flap of the door, right? Full Sutton, right? C wing, when it was the lifer wing, right? So there goes, anyway, there's 3 of them on the gear, right? One of them's turned round and faced me, right? So one of them turns round and faces me, right? I'm like, man, these are like 3 of the most infamous villains that I know in the system, and they're going around saying they're going to beat up anyone who takes heroin and that, and yet everyone I knew was on it. Everyone was on it. The amount of people that I knew who was in like gay relationships, yet openly, they were like proper the most homophobic people you meet, but they come around offering me lumps of weed, offering me bags of gear, offering me a gallon of each. I always did a right for drugs and I always did a right for each.
You got on well with the Yarrish, liked you, that's okay.
Oh my God, well, I'm here now, right, for public, so it's for public discourse, right? So like, Mehmet, I love him. Dennis, I lost the bet to him. Yeah. I think I had to pay him £600. I think I had to pay him £600 or something. I can't remember. It was over there. I had there's a lot of gambling in prison. So it was,
they had the bookie. Duggan had one of them had the bookie.
Yeah, so every jail, most wings had like a bookie, and that one minute the bookie's like made 10 grand, and the next minute the bookie owes 5 grand and has to go on Rule 43. Do you know what I mean? But no, I thought that Arif's really kind to me. I don't know if I met Duggan, but definitely Dennis and Mehmet. Yeah. I was in soft toy class with Dennis and that. But I was doing education. No, what was I doing? I was on some like current affairs group. It used to be held in a chapel with Mehmet. Yeah,
Slaney never liked you.
Warren Slaney. Well, I was with Warren when he was on remand. Walking around the exercise yard in Leicester, the Cat yards.
But when you used to walk past the table, he just doesn't like it.
Well, it didn't come across to me like he didn't like me. It wasn't so much that. It wasn't so much that he didn't like me.
He didn't like that.
He didn't really like anybody.
Yeah, he didn't really like anybody. He doesn't like the gay thing. Doesn't like the gay thing. Not saying he's he gets the ump about things like that.
But I mean, I was gay before I was trans, and he didn't know none of that.
No.
This is all before all that stuff. But I mean, I was on remand with him, and I said like, "What's happened?" He was convinced he was getting not guilty.
Yeah, I know. Well, he would do, because there wasn't really much to it.
But when I was walking around with him there, it was snowing. It was the yard was covered in snow. Yeah, I got in trouble there because I picked up a stone, covered it in snow, and I threw it. Fucking screw his head in it. Like it was a snowball, but it had a stone in it.
Was Ferdy around them times?
Ferdy, when he got his face burnt off.
When he got his face
burnt off? No, he was the last time Ferdy, and where was I with him?
He's been nicked again for love and murder or something.
I was with him in...
He was a lunatic as well. Funny though.
Long Larton. Yeah, I was with him in Long Larton. His face looked bad, like half his face, like, just melted.
Remember, you liked Perry Geroni as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked.
He was funny.
I'll tell you what I liked, right? I'll tell you what I liked. In Full Sutton, right? In Full Sutton, last time I saw Perry was in Whitemore with that Alfonso Fredericks.
Yeah, he was there. I saw him at that time as well.
Yeah, I was with Alfonso in Full Sutton, that as well. Yeah, Fredericks. Who are you talking about?
Perry Geroni, you can say who the people you like. You liked a few people.
Perry. Yeah, apparently he's doing all right out here. I haven't met him since I got out, but I did meet Kevin Brown's daughter.
The actress, no.
Yeah, the actress. Yeah. She's great. She's really. She's
mum way back.
Oh my God, I think she's amazing. It's just, I think it was a shame for a lockdown because. I don't know if she's doing a show at the moment. She's amazing. We went out and done stuff with the Prisoner Solidarity Network when it was still around. Perry, Kevin Brown and that.
Who else stands out around about there? The cat.
Mickey Sims, did you know him?
Vaguely.
The black guy from Croydon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey Sims was nice. But I like Charlie as well.
That's what I thought.
I like Charlie, but the thing is, because I can see past the mental health issues.
Yeah, but after he's not going to be well. He's never been that. No one's that well, Sarah. But to just keep him down there, he's not.
That's the thing.
It's not human.
No one's well.
Yeah, no one's well. I've worked it out.
That's the thing where everyone's just. I think we're all just winging it and hoping that we're gonna.
I didn't realise until I got out that there's so much.
I thought I was the only one mentally ill and everyone else was alright. Turns out no.
No.
But I was. They put me in a psychiatric hospital after my castration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Royal Bethlehem Psychiatric Hospital.
Yeah.
But I went in there and see some proper on the scale of monstrous crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the psychiatric hospital it had the worst, even worse than the worst people in prison. Then like Dennis Nilsson or whatever. There were worse people than Dennis Nilsson in a psychiatric hospital that no one's ever heard of. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember you used to talk to him, Nilsson?
I used to play Scrabble with him.
You used to play Scrabble with him?
Yeah, it's a cheat, innit? Scrabble, Dennis Nilsson, Scrabble cheat. Just Google it.
What did you think of him?
Just another prisoner doing his time.
Yeah,
didn't cause me no problems. Thought he could beat me at. He thought he could beat me at chess.
What about that Bamba? I heard you and him was tight.
No, Jeremy Bamba. I was with Jeremy Bamba. It's funny you should say that, because I'm convinced he's innocent. I'm convinced that Jeremy Bamba is innocent. All I know is how he carried himself in prison. Right?
You know that
guy. No. You know that guy Colin who got shot on that fucking job up in Plumstead? He got paralysed on an armed robbery.
Are you talking about Colin Mitchell?
His name was in a wheelchair.
Starsky's covered
I don't know what
he's in Whitemore Blue Space, dead now, with my mate, coolly looking.
Because all I knew is this guy Colin, right? And I've gone past, his name was Colin, he was in a wheelchair. And the only time I used to see him was Jeremy would be walking him around the yard on his thing, right? We're pushing him around, helping him bath, getting his food. I wasn't doing that for people in prison.
Yeah, but that's one instance of serious. That doesn't define the whole character. It depends what the reasons for. I did nice things, but I'm believing he's guilty anyway, so it doesn't make no sense.
You're believing he's guilty?
Yeah.
Based on what?
Based on the case itself, because he tried to blame it onto the
sister.
Which it wasn't. She was mentally incapacitated at the time, and he's the odd one out, and he did it for money, and he's a weirdo, mate. He'd done it. There's no one else in the frame. There's no other bits of evidence. Even the great Razor Smith will tell you that. Those that know.
The great
transphobic Razor Smith out or anything.
The great transphobic Razor Smith. I read his book when I was in prison. I read his transphobic stuff about when he was in Grendon.
He was the greatest, man. But Sarah, listen.
I never met him, and I've never ever heard of him. When I was in prison, all my life. Listen, I'd never spoken to him. I'd never heard. The first time I heard of him was a letter in the Inside Time newspaper. He's a great writer.
He is a great writer.
He's a great writer, and he's a great writer as long as he don't step into queer territory. Yeah, as long as he stays with his shoot, as long as he sticks with shotguns and
but
that
Bamba,
kind of stuff.
Sarah, Bamba, there's no one else in there's no one else in the frame. There's no other reasoning behind it. There's no people hanging in the background, the phone things.
I don't believe
the ringing the call before the thing. All the things that give us something. He can't pull up nothing else, and he tried to manipulate the screws in Long Lartin and got caught out. He tried many little methods. He got all these little do-goody women writing to him and want to be associated with him and sending him pictures and all. What kind of stupidness is that? And he murdered kids and an old mum and dad. Hey, you know what I mean? For what? For people who tried to care for him. I've got no time for it. He's a manipulator, conniving, deceitful. I went for...
My God, that's quite a lot of words there. But Yemi, I hope you're right.
I'm telling you, Sarah.
Because if you're not right...
I'm good with those things.
Because if you are wrong,
It was him, Sarah. If I'm wrong, Sarah.
Hold on. If you are wrong, could you imagine being in jail for that?
Well,
And I've seen at least 20 cases get thrown out, right? Big, massive cases where as soon as the media circus has died down, they've gone to the appeal court. The appeal court said, "Nah, release."
yeah.
But that doesn't make.
Remember the Carl Bridgewater case?
Well, the thing is, I was thinking of
The Hickey brothers. It wasn't everything like that.
When you asked me about the Arifs, and I was saying about Mehmet. I used to sit with Mehmet, Mehmet, me, and then is it Brian? Is it Jimmy Robinson? Do you remember Robinson from
I know you're talking.
the old man? Yeah. So they released. So the day before he went to court, and they all walked out.
Yeah.
Right? The day before they went, he had just showed me a report from the chaplain, Jimmy Robinson. He said, "Look, I just got this from the chaplaincy, right? They said, this prisoner should remain on category A." And then the next day, he goes to court, Jimmy Robinson, with the others, and they walk out, right? So they walk. Anyway, the next week, the governor allowed Jimmy to come back into the prison to tell us about the experience of it. We said, "Go and get the vicar in here. Go and get the vicar who said he should remain on category A. Get him in here."
What about you and there was always talk about you and that Smitherman as well.
Who?
Smitherman.
Smitherman? No. That's do me.
You know what I'm talking about, though, don't you?
No.
Smitherman used to wear the ladies' clothes. That was in for all their murders.
Where?
There's Mary Crusher. You remember Mary
No,
Crusher?
I didn't.
And Smitherman. Smitherman is supposed to put the girl in the grave.
Yeah, these were people I know.
Oh, you missed that, probably missed that run.
Listen, my friend, listen. If you stand in front of me and I hear that you put a woman or a child under, you're going under, my friend. That's it. That's what would have happened in prison. I could not have people like that around me.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I had people around me. I tell you what,
the
a lot
Cates are full of undercover. There's some
plastic
real-
gangsters, mate.
Yeah, but there's a lot of strange stuff. You knew Franny Pope and Dave Charlie Tays. The old lot.
Who?
The old lot, our lot, the armed robbers and all that.
No, listen, all them people, right, from like...
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Is it Parker's there? What's the guy Parker who done Parker's Tales?
Norman
Parker.
Right?
Then that was before my time.
Yeah, a bit before mine.
That was before my time, where you had like Bill the Bomb and all them people. They was before my time. When I got
on there, I was on the late bits, and mind you, they were in other little places with me as well. Apart from that, but you're right, there was an era before me and you.
Yeah.
But they were on their second runs.
I didn't get into dispersals. I didn't get to maximum security till I was at least. I didn't get to maximum security till I was 21 when I went into maximum security. That was just my life. So, like I say, 80% of prison was alright. 20% of it was absolutely awful. But I met some amazing people. Can I tell you a story? Really short story about someone I just met.
Go ahead.
I just met this guy about a week ago. Just got out of jail. He's done over 30 years of a life sentence. He just got out.
Yeah.
He approached me. He asked me if I knew I could get any weed. I said, I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I smoke tobacco, and I get through loads of extra strong mints. But and I said to him, I said, if you just, you're in this place where I was living. I said, you do now. I said, how long have you been out? He said, I've been out a day. I said, you've been out a day from doing like over 35 years in prison, and you're asking complete strangers if they know where you can get drugs, man. I said, look, the best advice...
Did you remember him or you didn't know him?
No, I never knew him from prison, but then I met him, and my missus met him, right? And he's looked at our car and he's gone like, oh, your car's nice and that. I said, look, hold your stuff together. I said, go back to the hostel, get off the streets, go back to the hostel wherever you're living and shut the door. Go in there, put the TV on, and make yourself a cup of tea, and just be patient. I said, you've been out one day after doing 35 years in one go, and I know you're struggling. The fact is, I can't say to him, look, come round my house and that, and I'll make you dinner. I mean, like last night, Anita made me a steak. It was like this big, fucking huge steak, just celebrate how much he loves me, I guess. But like, but I saw this guy, and I remembered when I got out of prison, and he said to me how lonely he was. He said it was the loneliness, whereas in prison there's always that hyperactivity. Everyone's hyper vigilant, looking like we're waiting for the next person to attack us, or
reality,
or we're looking for windows of opportunity where we can make a few quid or whatever.
Everyone's traumatized.
But like when you get out after all that excitement, every day is a different
no
trauma.
one's around, you're all alone.
Yeah.
So if
Then
you've got no one,
you get out of prison, you're sitting there, right, and you got like, I've got no one to kill me. No one wants to kill me. No one wants to hurt me. I don't want to hurt no one else. I don't want to kill no one else. What do I do now? And that's the thing. You go, now what do I do? You get out of jail. The guy had no bank account. He'd done 35 years and he came out, he had no bank account. He wasn't getting benefits.
I know what you mean, man.
Do you know what I mean? He had a disability, a physical disability. I said to him, look, just jump on a bus, right? And just go to the side of the River Thames or something. Do you know what I mean? I said, go to the side of the Thames and just get yourself a bottle of lemonade and just chill out and just think of all them people who are still in there doing their bang up, running around smoking tea bags.
But he's right though, it does get, if you ain't got anyone,
it's
lonely.
It's lonely out here.
It's lonely.
But especially if you go to prison and you're young, and then by the time you get out, like 30 years later, half the people you know, they've either they've emigrated, or immigrated somewhere else, or, I mean, no one stays the same. But in my head, I hit the street, and I'm like, I'm knocking on someone's door, and I'm saying, like, do you know where so-and-so is? They said, yeah, they moved 28 years ago. They emigrated to Canada. And I'm like, fuck, it's like you close. Any contact I had was it was like, you got to make your own life. Yeah. You've got to make your own life. But to make your own life, you've got to be enthusiastic. You've got to be motivated. Your immediate needs need to be dealt with.
Right.
Security of housing. So I mean, my rent's come up by £600. I've got an eviction notice. I don't think I can make the rent. I'm going to have to go to somewhere cheaper. I'm going to have to go to some accommodation, which could be which could be really bad. I live in a really beautiful place. I've been there for 3 years, Kew Gardens. So I mean, if I have to go, I'll go. But I love where I live, and only by living where I live could I have survived on my own, because because we have the lowest crime rate. We have the lowest crime rate.
It's a nice area there. I was in a hospital down there once.
Yeah, but the hostel's just like the
Map hostel.
It's not far.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, not.
How long was that?
It's
a good hour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, so all right. So it's your story at the end of the day, because it's part one. Remember, what about what you're doing now then? And
I'm standing
with
at
the
there.
MP and all that kind of stuff, and what you're activating the campaigns and that kind of stuff.
I'm here at the moment. I'm going to. I don't know. There's a local billionaire that I was going to ask him if he could if he could give me a few quid to get a campaign going, because I'm standing at the next general election. I'll be standing for Member of Parliament for Richmond Park. Yeah. Which is the constituency I live in at the moment, and I care a lot about the people in it. I know lots of people there. But in the meantime, Boris has lost his seat. Do you know what I mean? So the by-election's coming up. By-election, so it'll be end of July. So I'll be standing. I've got a deposit ready. As soon as I finish talking to you, I'm off to Cambridge and Lincolnshire. I'm going on a little fundraising tour. I don't need money. I need people to help me with leaflets. I need people to get boots on the ground. Right. So this is like Ruislip and Uxbridge. So and I'm familiar with the demographics of the area. It's quite an aging demographics of there. But you know, people ain't being looked after there. People who are disabled, they're not being looked after properly. Do you know what I mean? No one's. The government are not looking after the people properly. They're not. This trickle-down economics method they're using it's not working. So when they think the economy is going pear-shaped, what do? They give billions and billions and billions to the richest people in the country with this antiquated theory that if you give rich people even more riches, some of it will trickle down. This trickle down economy, it's bloody shameless, because you give these people the money and it all goes into offshore accounts. None of it's going back into the economy of this country. People are getting mugged off, like economically, they're getting mugged off. The value of the pound, I mean, the pound the value of a pound you can't do nothing with it, hardly. So I mean, when I first went to prison, half ounce of gold in Virginia was 88 pence.
Remember?
Yeah. No, they used to cut it in half.
The old Holden.
Yeah, give you a quarter, right? A quarter for 44p, right? I'll get like a quarter of gold in Virginia or a quarter of old Holden. Get myself like 4-penny chews, boxing matches, 2 packets of Rizzlers. Matches, I'll cut them in half.
Remember?
Yeah. So.
And I used to use the pen to break the matches.
Yeah. Yeah, but you end up messing up your
break
pen.
it up, yeah, but it breaks and all the thing.
You go, what do I want most? Do I worry about breaking my pen? Because then, the pen or a roll up.
Oh,
Let's do the roll up.
It feels good for you though to be able to get back, because you got some harsh treatment from the staff and all that in Full Sutton and the sex and all that. So you've come out here and you've made a change. You've turned your life around, really.
Like, as with the prison,
you've had the right goal, really.
As I said, with the system,
you're still a survivor and a battler.
80% of it, the same with the staff. 80% of the staff were amazing. 20% were absolute dogs that should be in jail. I'm not going to mention their names because, but the last time, see, the old idea of me getting out, I wasn't going to come out. I was determined to stay in the system, but I came out for revenge. I wanted revenge on all the people who had me over, all the members of staff who had done really bad stuff. But the minute I came out and started to challenge in an appropriate manner, starting to say, well, I have this information about this prisoner who was, I believe, murdered. But who can you go with? The minute I started challenging the system, I was taken to, I was called down to my probation. I was given a warning letter. A warning letter from the Ministry of Justice. They say, like, look, you've done your time, get out, shut your mouth. That was, it was just, they gagged me. I was gagged. I was gagged with a letter. Probation didn't want to give me it to me because everything I was doing, everything I was saying, it was the truth. There wasn't a lie in the thing I was saying. I just wanted to take down some of these guys with so much authority in the system, so much power over other people's lives, but like dereliction of duty, corruption.
It's mad when I look back. When I think you've got a long time to go in it, there's lovely nights down in Sex, and it's when we shout out the window and all that. I used to lie there thinking, God, years away, 5
No, you got to just tap on the pipe, innit?
10
tap,
away.
tap, 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 tap,
Every
tap,
year
tap,
that goes
tap,
by, you go, Gordon, but it's still 8 years to go, 7 years to go. It's hard.
I think the worst place, right, I was in a seg unit. No, it's not even the seg unit. Not even the worst place. The worst place was the hospital when they put me on in Winson Green.
Yeah, come on.
With like,
They done me
with
over.
Fred West and who else was like the Bronson, he was up there. They gave him a little gym. They gave him a cell. They put like weightlifting stuff so he could do.
The old Winson Green.
Yeah, the old Winson Green, Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Fred West and all them lunatics.
He committed suicide there, didn't he? No, it was round about it. Yeah.
Did he commit suicide? Or
Well,
was
he
it
didn't go on trial.
Yeah.
Fred West.
Yeah, we had a pigeon used to come to our windows all the time. It had no legs on it. They called it Stumpy. Someone chopped its legs off this pigeon. Yeah. It wasn't me. It might have been Fred, but it wasn't me. But Fred West, he didn't mess with pigeons, did he? Just people.
I thought you'd been messing about with everyone.
I proper felt. I know it's unpopular, but I felt sorry for him, man. He's definitely proper special needs.
I think more than special needs. You can just.
No, really, no.
Mad case that was.
No. If you sat in front of him, right? If you sat in front
Every
of him,
so often, a mad case comes up. In history, there's always Shipman. There's always Myra Hindley.
Yeah, if he spoke to you. If he spoke to you for 30 seconds, listen, if he spoke to you for 30 seconds...
He's playing to kill him, mate.
No, you do know what you'd be doing? No, you wouldn't. Yeah, no, you mate, you wouldn't. Listen, if you spoke to him, if he spoke to you for 2 minutes, you'd be going, this is down to his missus. If you met him, his IQ, man, he's got the IQ, he's got the lowest IQ of any person I've met in my life.
Is it?
Special
Is it
needs,
Sarah?
yeah.
Fred West?
Yeah. His missus was the monster. behind it. His missus was going, yeah, you should do this, and you should do that, and then girls were punishing, you should do this. The missus, that Rose, was vicious, she's vile, man. The guy got special needs, man. I could manipulate him. If I went up to fredwest and said, look, go and kill yourself, mate, he probably would have done it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A prison officer probably said that to him. You know them days where people say, yeah, if I don't get so-and-so, I'm going to kill myself, and the staff go on and do it. He's the kind of person who probably did it. He probably said, look, I need something, and the staff has been gone, kill yourself, and he's probably done it.
What about Shipman then? Shipman did the same thing.
But apparently Shipman was a really good doctor to people in prison, to other prisoners. He gave lots of people good advice, man. He helped a lot of people with their medical stuff. Yeah,
he's the biggest serial killer in English history.
He might be the biggest serial killer in the country, but he was still a good doctor. No one disputes he was a good doctor. Even in prison, even when he came to prison doctors were going and asking him for advice. He was a proper doctor.
You can't be going there for advice, though, can you? For someone that's giving advice on how to kill people, when he knows the route of how to do it. He's not really sound of mind, is he?
Yeah, but
he can't be sound of mind if he's using his doctor skills to get rid of old people, young people, get rid of everyone.
But aside from the victims,
so
the victims and their families,
he's giving out of, for some, there's a dark, warped reasoning behind it all. There's no one that could, because it's how he lived his life. He killed hundreds of people. He's not going to all of a sudden, just because he's in prison, oh yeah, look, no, this is the right method to use for this and that. All the methods he's used are for his own desires, of which he holds the power to other people's lives.
But we grew up we spent years living with killers who weren't bad people.
There's evil bad in it. It's on the case circumstances. I always look at, I know what's enough and far too much, and there's evil, and there is always.
No one killed me. He never killed me.
Well, I mean,
I'm still here if anyone wants to take a shot. But I mean, no one's killed me. I did 30 years. I did the worst landings and the worst prisons, just as you did.
Yeah, but you can't save people's lives, man.
No,
I don't care what anyone says. All right, I understand when there's fights, you can't get out of it, and there's no way out. You're protecting us, you're defending it. We know that there's crimes of passion and things like that. But anything where it's vulnerable, secret desires, sexual desires made up of, I'm stronger, I've got the power, I'm going to take advantage, and I'm going to satisfy my own needs, and I'm going to be evil, and I'm going to kill this person. I'm not going to give him a chance. There's only mental health involved or evil. Those are the only two things, and I know the difference.
Why does it have to be evil? Why can't it just be mental health?
No, evil's not. Evil is like Belfield, fredwest, evil. Not mental health, mate. He never went to the mental.
Are you able?
Shipman's evil.
Are you able to separate? Are you able, right? It's like this. It's not loaded, right? Are you able to separate someone's crime from the person?
Depending on what the crime. Look, I've been through it all my life, sir. And when I look at the crimes and lack of self-control, there's a difference between the desires and what you're getting out of it. If you're pulling up in a car driving around at night and you see a lonely target of a lady walking down the road, you don't even know her, but you want to run up behind her and murder her and kill her and rip her coat, do whatever, you're evil. You're seriously mentally ill. Because you got Vanage, Erskine, all those kind of people ended up in Broadmoor. I think, I never thought Sutcliffe was mental patient. I never thought Brady was. I thought they were both evil men and should have never got a chance to go into the mental institutions. They played it against the prison system and they won. But Vanage, Erskine, men like that I knew from young age and then saw them when they were older, they are gone. They are not well mentally. So I wouldn't say evil for them. I believe that they're going to be that way forever, and they've got some kind of disorder for killing and blah, 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 blah. But theirs is mental. I agree that they should be in Broadmoor and Brampton.
The wiring.
Sutcliffe and all that, and Brady, all of them lot, I believe, are totally beyond evil. That's that. That's how I differentiate the ones I saw and met. And like Belfield, he's not in Broadmoor, is he? No. He's in there doing the prisons. He's evil. Right, and there's many like him. That what's his name? Sam. That other geek. There's so many. There's
no,
loads.
but Yanni, the point I'm coming from, right? The angle that I'm coming from is that if you want to see what evil is, don't look to them. We can see that. We can see that. Look at amongst families. The people who'll be watching us now. I'll say, look at the people in your family who've had you over, who've done stuff to you, who've touched you and that. Do you know what I mean? And yet people won't go to the police about it, and people are too scared to report stuff because it will destroy families.
It's mad, isn't it?
Nearly every family that I've ever been in contact with, they've got these dark stuff going on. Don't think about the guy who's going out and raping flipping.
He gets
10. Don't think about the guy who's doing that. Think about the guy who's raping his daughters every night. Why his missus is colluding with it. Because men, we see cases like that in prison, where it's a couple getting done, and they're both culpable and they're both involved in it.
Because they said that they tried to blame Brady for Hindley.
Yeah, look at
but
the stuff that goes
I wondered about that relationship as well. Because any woman, no man can manipulate a woman to killing children. There's no way. A woman with a paternity, if you're not evil and you're not in on it.
Did you ever read his book?
That Ian Huntley, what's her name? Maxine Carwin, with the same kind of thing. You've got to be in it. And there's no way you would have a man next to you who is doing that and you is aware of it. No normal woman would be doing that. You have to be the same way. You can't love him that much that you just put up like his crimes, like an ex-girlfriend of mine put up with my burgling habits or my robbing habits or my drug habits. You're putting up with what he does by killing children and women and, for no reasons whatsoever.
Do you think
absolutely no reasons apart from probably sexual desires? And then to hide, so there's no witnesses or things, whatever the reasoning is behind it.
So do you think they should bring back capital punishment? Because as you know, the number of lifers, the number of murders in the system have flown up.
I reckon you could.
So do you reckon it's time to?
I would always believe that. I might speak for myself with a self-control thing, and you know what, working out the wrongs and rights of. But I believe that certain crimes you have to be able to face the death penalty. You shouldn't be able to skate around on the nonsense wing, hiding out for the rest of your days. You've had a right result, really. All right, your freedom's been taken away, but at the same time, you're suffering, but not suffering. When you're about to die, and you'll know exactly what they all felt like, your victims. So you're to face that, and you're to face that with everybody watching, so you know that the spotlight's on you, that now they're watching you, your turn to be killed by, the powers that be, the same way that you had the power to go and do that to someone else.
But staff love them. Does staff love them kind of people, though? The worst of crimes are the staff, because they know the only people who's going to protect them is prison officers.
Yeah, but prison officers snakes anyway. They just get what they want out of them. Yeah, come and tell me this and that. But then again, we've heard of some cases, even in the cat, there were some screws that got nicked for nonsense. They're everywhere, Sarah. They've murdered their people.
I was in prison with a prison officer.
You've got police officers sitting round the table out here with 20, 30 years experience, and yet now they get convicted of 50 rapes. But yet everyone in that police station where they was knew what they were up to, but because of, even speak no evil, and I don't want to lose my job, and I think bad of me, and same like in there, the prison officers like, yeah, but they want to take, not that, they don't want to be the odd, because you're working, it's like being in prison officers, you've got to join in with us, we've got to go in.
If you're a whistleblower, we'll destroy you.
Yeah, we'll just like that,
we'll destroy your career, that's what they like.
So the police officers, you see them doing it, but there's no way no one could do that amount of serious crimes and be in a powerful position. And those around you not know what's going on, that you've got strange behaviour around women, that you laugh at other people's expense, that you got off and tormenting and torturing. Hey, we'll go in there, let's go and pull off there. Ha, 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 ha. It's joint enterprise. And then another of your colleagues will think, he's a bit weird, but fuck him, man, I ain't getting involved, I ain't going to say anything, I won't be able to keep my job. And every so often, someone does speak out. But in reality, it happens everywhere.
I was in the police station a few weeks ago, Yummy.
And all walks of life, mate, it's bad.
I walked into a police station of my own accord. Do you mean? A 13-year-old kid, a 16-year-old kid got attacked in a park. And because I said this, would I come across to give evidence? Well, I can only tell the truth. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I wanted to say no, I hate the state, but I've had three causes. I mean, I get death threats I get death threats. I get lots of death threats
Because you're
online.
campaigning and you're outspoken and you're fighting for a cause.
I'm like, listen, I just served 30 years, man. No one could kill me there. You think you could kill me out here? You'd have to bring a gun to my door and shoot me.
Sarah, no one could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to rub people up the wrong way because somebody you're going to speak
they're telling me I've got no right to stand for election, right? They're telling me I've got no right. I said, well, look, I was the second prisoner in the country, right, to go to European Court for the right to vote. Do you know what I mean? And prisoners still don't have the right to vote, but ones that with fines do. There's a couple of categories. But that's about it. But I think prisoners should be allowed to vote, just so they can feel part of the process, feel part of the system. I mean, if you go to jail and they say to you, look, you're in there because no one wants you, and then you're sitting there with 30 years in there, like, all your family are dying off or they're all moving on, everyone's getting married, and do you know what I mean? And in the end, just sitting in your cell on your own, and 1 minute you was like 20, one minute you're like 17, 18, next thing you know, you're 50 years of age. You've got your big man boobs, unless you're trans like me, right? So you got your man boobs, right? You got really bad feet.
It's sad,
really bad health.
And it passes quick. It goes just this 1 minute.
My 30 years went like that.
I got started to think different. It's so sad when I always think it's like a complete. Who was you going to say, Sarah? What about I was going to say something to you. What was it? Not who you think would who's the hardest man you ever come across. Who was you going to talk about earlier? You just took me away from that. That was a good topic for the viewers.
You should do like, who's the nicest?
No, who was I going to say?
Who's the cruelest? Who's the wickedest? They're all different categories. I want to have at least one. I'd like to be like, I was the most annoying. I was really quite annoying.
Well, Sarah, what about that? So, who the toughest really? Would you say that there's always, but you never really looked out for
the toughest people?
The hardest, like physically.
The hardest person on their own.
Yeah, on their own.
With no backup.
Is there any surprises for us? Can you remember? Tick my brain, see if I remember them.
Do you know, half of them people, right, they might have done bad stuff outside in prison.
Did you see Victor do a hit?
Yeah, no, I do a hit. I see John Timon, he chopped up John Timon in Full Sutton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I was on TV. He went in, he said,
what?
He said, so the story is, we're both on C Wing. I've been playing chess all day. Right? I've been playing chess all day with Victor, right? So my cell's here, Victor's cell's at the other cell of the corridor on C Wing, right? We're right at the back, far away from the screws, right? Loads of people just get battered on my wing, but not on my wing, but like, not me, right? So like, I'm in this cell, Victor's in this cell, John Timon's on the next landing. So I'm blasting my music out. John Timon thinks it's Victor. He's gone out the window, he's gone, turn that music down, you Chinese. C-U-N-T, right? Next thing, the next morning, all of us scream. I'm like, what's the matter? Victor's gone straight up there and just carved him up in his bed. He's carved his face up. He says, I'm not Chinese. I'm not Chinese.
I remember that, John. I think I remember that, John.
John Timon from Manchester. The team was all right though, because they had a lot of Manchester people. When I was at the Full Circus, he's from Manchester.
Yeah.
Because I said, like, well, you know, in prison yourself.
What about Massey? Do you see Massey? Massey was around at that time, or you know?
I never really talked to them people. I normally done my shit. There was a few gay people, a few queer people. I wasn't doing Class A's at that time. I really started smoking weed then, and really sticking with my music. I take some guitar.
What about that Tarek? What about that Tarek?
Never.
No, the tall Turkish one, Bradley as well. He used to sell gear as well.
Do you remember that peanut poisoner? The one that Gaddafi sent the guy over to kill the
I think I know you're talking about. Not
and all them other.
Not in Dowie, no.
I'm trying to remember the guys. He tried to poison.
Who's one that done the balcony? No, not Siege. No, the embassy. No.
I had sex with him. Oh. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. The one person that was left over from the Iranian embassy.
Him, he was in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Sarah.
He was all right, man. I'd say he's
all right.
Yeah, I got him revived. I didn't have intercourse with him, so like. But I needed heroin, and he had a bag of gear.
God, a minute.
I said, "What do I have to do to get that bag of heroin off you?" He said, "Just let me give you a hug."
There's some closet big names. There's some closet big names.
Prison's gay. Prison's the.
I never saw.
Prison's gay.
There's not loads of it, Sarah. It's only a few, like.
Yeah, I agree.
It's only a few and a couple of slippery cases.
It's the same. Listen, it's exactly the same with heroin use, right? Remember when heroin came out, right? Now, people were saying to me that people only took heroin because it's going out of your system in 24 hours.
Right.
Rubbish. Everyone that I knew was doing it even before that. Everyone that I knew was doing it even before that.
I remember when it all changed.
Yeah, if you was on heroin, they'll come in and beat up. They'll come and beat you up and set fire to your soul. It's like, but hypocrites, you're all on it. Do you know what I mean? The only difference was I didn't have the money to buy it. I had to do other things.
It's a bird. It's not the right thing to do, but it's a bird. A lot of faces back then got through the bird killer. When you're doing 20s and 80s,
I could not have done my sentence
25.
without heroin. I couldn't have done it. I could not have done my prison. Right. I would not be alive today without heroin. And that's it. I've been clean now for.
The graft.
I've been clean for 17 years. Yeah.
Something to do every day.
It's a hobby.
Get into this in the jungle.
Someone come up to me, right? Someone come up to me in Swellside. He said, "I've just got 30 years. Have you got any advice?" I said, "Get yourself a habit, or get yourself a hobby, or make your habit your hobby, or your hobby your habit. Do whatever. But you need something." I was so busy running round like a fly. I was so busy running around trying to get this to trade for that, to get this to that. My prison just flew 15 years, just went in a flashlight.
Yeah. Would you always, Sarah? Anything got promoted? Did you bring your book or anything?
No, I've got nothing to promote.
All right, part two. When we do part two,
my books are selling all right, but I don't make money. I don't make.
No, but you've still got your campaign, and you still got your thing, and you're campaigning for trans and
life imprisonment, an unofficial guide, and transgender behind prison walls, available to be shoplifted from any good bookshop.
Yeah.
I don't need. It's not enough money for me to. I can live on it. I mean, you might be lucky to make like 50 quid.
I don't know that. I mean, it's what the cause. It's what the cause is for, not the money, Sarah. People will still be interested in Sarah Baker's story, man. There's a lot we ain't gone over. Part two, we're going to do it. Say hello to Anita, your missus.
Hello, Anita. I love you, Boo.
And
congratulations on the Royal Academy. Right. And your prize from the president.
The little dog. What happened to the little dog? I saw that.
I had to rehome my dog, Bobby.
You had to rehome it?
You had to rehome it. As soon as I get an eviction notice, they said you're not even allowed to have a dog here. So I thought, look, I rehomed him with someone that I really liked. And yeah, he's having, my dog's having a good time. As long as he's got a soft toy to hump and someone to throw a ball for him, he's absolutely fine. He's a Jack Russell, man. He's hard as anything.
All right, viewers. Well,
my dog was harder than all the people I met in prison.
I fitted this in today. I remember I went for my counselling. I had a counselling session earlier that absolutely drained me. But I remember with Sarah Jane was going one way and I was somewhere going another way. And I said, come quickly, just fly in and do a quick part one. It was as simple as that. So I hope you got something out of it. Dear so well, Sarah is. And she's going to be doing part two.
I need therapy.
I haven't asked her nothing. I just basically Sarah, just walked through the door. I said, come on, let's just go and start straight away. I haven't really looked into it, like to say, bring this subject up, but you've got loads more to say, all right?
Vote for me at the next general election for Richmond Park. Sarah Jane Baker, it makes absolutely no sense. But why not?
No, of course it does. It makes a lot of sense.
At least I'm not a Tory.
No, you'll help a lot of people. But Yummy BTV, get ready, part two won't be too long away as well. So I might come up tonight, but special love to you and special love to our own.
These are loaded.
Sarah Jane Baker, loads of love.